In the world of pharmaceuticals, we all know that water isn't just water. It's a critical raw material, something we engineer it to an incredibly high standard. But even inside those gleaming multi-million-dollar water systems, there's a hidden threat. A kind of ghost in the machine. That ghost is called total organic carbon, and getting a handle on it is absolutely non-negotiable.
And look, this isn't just some minor impurity we can brush off. It's the one contaminant that can sneak right past you, but it has massive, massive implications for your regulatory standing and, way more importantly, for patient safety.
All right, so let's pull back the curtain and define what we're actually talking about here. This is TOC, and if you're an engineer working with a purified water system, you need to know this stuff inside and out.
To put it really simply, TOC is just a measurement of all the carbon-based gunk in your water. Think of it as a catch-all for any organic stuff that just shouldn't be there. It's really our first and best indicator that tells us whether our whole purification process is actually doing its job.
Now, as you would expect, the regulators have drawn a very hard line in the sand. The United States Pharmacopoeia, the USP, sets that limit at 500 parts per billion. That's the ceiling, the absolute max. But what does a number like 500 ppb even look like in the real world?
This is honestly the best way I've ever heard it described. We are talking about the equivalent of half a single teaspoon of sugar in an entire Olympic-sized swimming pool. It's an unbelievably tiny amount, and it just shows you how incredibly strict these purity standards really are.
And you do not want to go over that limit. The stakes are just too high. A TOC excursion isn't some small blip. It can land you an FDA 483 warning letter. And why are they so serious about it? Well, because high TOC is basically food for bacteria. It helps them grow and can even protect them from sanitization. It's a huge contamination risk.
So here's the key takeaway, the thing that trips a lot of people up. It is not enough to just stay below 500 ppb. The FDA expects more. They want to see that you actually understand the normal, day-to-day rhythm of your specific system. And that's where trending your data becomes so much more important than just one-off testing.
Take a look at this chart. It tells the whole story. Let's say your system is usually humming along at a super clean 15 ppb. Then, all of a sudden, it jumps to 80 ppb. Now, technically, you're still way under that 500 ppb limit, so you're in spec, right? But are you in control? Not even close. That spike is a giant red flag telling you something has gone wrong. And this right here is exactly what auditors are trained to look for. That jump from 15 to 80 is what's known in statistical process control as a special cause variation. It means something new, something unexpected has happened, and you are absolutely expected to investigate it and document what you found.
So, how do you catch these things before an auditor does? How do you stop a small problem from becoming a crisis? You build your own early warning system. You don't just rely on the 500 ppb limit, you set your own internal guardrails based on your system's own historical data.
And the way you do it is actually pretty straightforward using some really powerful basic stats. First, you gather your data. Plot out your TOC levels from the last 30, maybe 90 days to find your average, your mean. Then, you set your guardrails. Your alert limit is the mean plus 2 standard deviations. Your action limit is the mean plus 3. This becomes your custom-built defense system.
The best way to think about it is like smoke versus fire. Hitting your alert limit, that's the smoke detector going off. It's an internal heads up. Time to get maintenance to start poking around. But hitting your action limit? Oh, that's the fire alarm blaring. That triggers a full-blown formal investigation. You have to find the root cause, document everything, and fix it. Now.
Okay, so the alarm's gone off. You've got a spike. The detective work begins. But in a system this complex, where on earth do you even start looking?
Well, here are your usual suspects. The cause could be something completely outside your building, like seasonal changes in the city water. You know, when the spring thaw happens, it washes a ton of organic material into the water source. Or maybe a water main broke down the street. But it can also be an internal problem. Maybe your RO membranes are starting to fail. Or, and this is a big one, a critical UV lamp is dying. And speaking of that UV lamp, it is a critical piece of this puzzle. The special 185 nanometer lamps that are designed to destroy TOC, they don't last forever. They've got a service life of about 8,000 to 9,000 hours. So one of the first and easiest things to check is just the maintenance log. Is it simply time for a change?
Now, you know what's even better than being great at troubleshooting?
designing a system so well that you don't have to troubleshoot in the first place. This is all about being proactive, preventing the problem before it can even start. And a core principle here, a foundational rule, is the zero dead leg rule. Following industry standards like ASME-BP, you design the piping so water is always moving. Any place where water can sit still, a dead-end pipe, a poorly designed valve, becomes this stagnant little swamp where organic gunk and biofilm can grow. Good geometric design stops that from ever happening.
We also use technology to actively hunt down and destroy these organics. Those 185 nanometer UV lamps we've been talking about, they create these super reactive molecules called hydroxyl radicals. You can think of them as little Pac-Man that just burn up or oxidize complex organic molecules on contact, shattering them into harmless CO2 and water.
So let's bring this all home. Why do we go through all this trouble? Because a high TOC number isn't just a process parameter. Those organic molecules can actually interfere with and ruin the final drug product itself. And even worse, high TOC is very often a warning sign, a precursor to the growth of bacteria that release dangerous endotoxins. And that is a stop production, stop ship catastrophe for any injectable drug.
So when you boil it all down, every trend chart, every alert limit, every piece of smart engineering, it all leads back to one simple, fundamental truth. This is about protecting the patient who will ultimately receive that medicine.
So if you remember anything, remember this mantra. Don't just test your water, trend it, so you know what normal really looks like. Track your system with your own data-driven limits so you get an early warning. And treat your water with smart design and robust technology. You master these three things, and you've mastered one of the most critical jobs in pharmaceutical manufacturing.